So maybe taking just a moment just to see what's here for you right now. Noticing how the breath is flowing, noticing the body. And then just becoming aware of where you are, how you're sitting. Just allowing yourself to fully arrive to this moment. And so today's Friday, so spend a little more time saying hello to each other at the beginning. I'd like to see if there's any new faces and welcome you. And today is also a day for just practice. So I invite you to just get as comfortable as you can. And just for a moment, just notice how the breath is flowing. And there's no need to change anything, but maybe just taking in a couple of deep breaths. And just allowing the breath to exit the body slowly. Long, long out breaths. And you can close your eyes or you can keep them open. Just settle into this body right here at this moment. Welcoming yourself to this new arrival, coming into the moment. If there is a lot in the mind right now, it's okay. Just acknowledging that. And then really gently, really kindly escorting your attention right back to maybe the areas of contact, the body with the surface holding you, maybe the feet on the ground or the areas of the legs in contact with the cushion or the chair. And then just noticing if there's any tension or tightness anywhere in the body. And seeing if you can allow for those areas to soften up a little bit. It's more of an invitation than a demand. So maybe allowing the shoulders to drop, the jaw to release, the teeth to give in, the eyes to soften. And every time you exhale, you soften even more and more. Giving the body the message that there's nothing to hold on to right now. It can just let go. You got it. And so today I thought I'll let Pablo Neruda guide our meditation. And so I'll go ahead and read his poem by the name Keeping Quiet. And meanwhile, I'll count with him as well. And as I count, perhaps just allowing yourself to go deeper and deeper, softening, allowing, accepting, with a certain openness to the moment. So he says, now we will count to 12 and we'll all keep still. 1. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. 2. Let's stop for a second and not move our arms so much. 3. It would be an exotic moment, without rush, without engines. 4. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. 5. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm the whales. 6. And the men gathering salt would not look at his hurt hands. 7. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victories with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. 8. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. 9. Life is what it's about. 10. If we were not single-minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt the sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. 11. And now I will count up to 12. 12. And you keep quiet, and I will go. dropping into this stillness, this quiet. And as you drop into this stillness, the body starts to soften, body starts to release. And the mind turns towards the breath. And the breath settles in the body. And this is it. This is the moment. There's no past. There's no future. There's just this moment, us here, right now. Nothing else. And Rumi says, there is no containing a light bulb. There's no corral in it. And just like that, there's no suppressing a thought, there's no avoiding thoughts. It's a strike a rail in a light bulb and it'll find a way. And so there's an idea to just be open, open to whatever it is that's here. Noticing, and then very kindly bringing your attention back. Whenever you find the mind chasing a thought, waiting for the story, you can always check in with the body, bringing your attention to any tightness or tension, taking in a deep breath and just letting go, softening, softening the body. And so there's no fighting the thoughts, there's no suppressing the emotions. Our practice invites us to acknowledge what's happening, to be with the moment exactly as it is. My grandmother on my father's side used to tell me a story. And in that story, there was a part in which she referenced to oil. And she would say the oil spilled. And when there's spilled oil, if you try to contain it with your hands, it would just slip away. And for me, such a metaphor for the practice. And how I see it is that you can't really contain the thoughts, you can't contain the emotions. But the practice allows us for that noticing. And in this case, it will be, there is a spilled oil, but I can't contain it. Not with my hands, but if I bring a container big enough and scoop it out, that might be easier. And so that's what we do with our awareness. We create this big container for what's happening, becoming quite aware. And so perhaps the practice for you just calls into noticing when there's a certain controlling, there's a certain trying to hold on to all this oil with your hands and it's slipping. And maybe trying to just open up to it, put it in a bigger container. Bring on a container and just scoop it all in there. Just allowing. This loving awareness is big enough to hold it all. And so maybe just bringing in a sense of gratitude in this moment, if that's possible. Maybe gratitude towards yourself for being here. The part of yourself that brings you here to your practice every time and that doesn't listen to all the other parts that want to do something else. Perhaps there is a deep sense of self in that, taking care of yourself in this way. So I thank you for this formal practice, for being here in this way with one another.